Thanks indeed. The UK's main house builders saw big profits this week, but how much of their success is down to cheap home loans from the government? Good question. Ben Thompson has some of the answers. Very good morning.
I do, yeah, lots to get through. Thanks very much. Good morning to you. After what's been quite a tough few years for the big builders, their profits, it seems, are now soaring. Just this week, there were big rises in profits at all the big builders, Barratt Homes, Redrow, Bovis and Taylor Wimpey. But why the sudden change in their fortunes? Well, some say it could be down to the government's Help to Buy scheme. You might remember that allows people to buy a home with a deposit as small as 5%, although we should say that details for those do vary right across the country. But it's thought that Help to Buy loans have assisted in the sale of around 15,750 homes since that scheme began, so a significant number. Well, Rebecca Evans is the editor of Construction News. She's here with me this morning. Rebecca, good morning to you. 15,000 doesn't sound like a lot, but actually it's a significant amount when you look at the activity in the market overall.
That's right. I mean, there was something like about 110,000 homes built in total last year, so 15,000 is quite a significant proportion of that.
Now, we talked there about the big numbers from the house builders this week. I just want to run through some of them just to bring us up to date on where they are. Barratt told us profits were up 162%, Redrow up 107%, Persimmon up 49%, Bovis up 48% and Taylor Wimpey up 48%. I mean, it does strike me that actually Help to Buy is helping the house builders, not the house buyers. Well,
it's definitely helping the house builders because it's helping get the market moving. And as you say, it's enabling certain people who perhaps would have struggled to get a mortgage now to buy a home with a smaller deposit. But the builders are saying it's not the only thing. They are pointing to the fact that the economy is recovering and that consumer confidence is increasing, and that Help to Buy is one element that at the moment is helping get things off the ground.
Now, it's a source of maybe cheaper money or more available money than has been available of late. What happens when that money runs out? I mean, will builders have to start going about their business very differently and market these properties differently because people won't have the same access to finance?
Well, I think that's a good question. I mean, prices are still high because the total number of homes being built is still less than half what is actually needed. So that's going to remain an issue. I think it will be interesting to see what the government offers to do next, and indeed what the other parties may do, given that we've got an election looming. But I also think we'll start to see the house builders actually probably offer schemes, their own schemes, that look like Help to Buy in terms of the house buyer at the other end of the scheme, so enabling purchases with a small deposit, but as you say, that's going to impact on their profits. They're going to have to put some money into that themselves.
Now, the biggest issue, though, really is supply still. Prices still rising because house builders aren't building enough houses to meet the demand. I mean, is there any indication from those house builders that they will up their construction this year?
They will up it this year, but they're not going to get it back to the levels that we saw before the downturn by quite some way. And there's various constraints. I mean, labour costs are starting to go up, materials costs are starting to go up, so they do need to be quite careful that they're not buying land now, for example, and assuming they can sell homes on it in 5 years' time, when actually they don't know what the demand is going to look like. There's also a role for the public sector. When house building has traditionally been really high, there's always been a significant chunk of that that's coming from public sector house building, council house building, housing associations as well.
Okay, one for us to watch. Rebecca Evans, really good to talk to you. Thanks very much. And it's worth bearing in mind too that we'll also get figures from the Nationwide about house prices in the next few minutes. I'll have those for you later on. See you.
Ben, thank you. See you later. Thank you.
Thanks, Ben. Time now 6:51.